This is James Hoffman. He is an expert in the field of coffee. If coffee knowledge used chess rankings, Mr. Hoffman is a grandmaster and the search for Bobby Fischer is over. Among numerous other accomplishments, James is a world champion barista, co-founder of Square Mile Coffee Roasters, and the author of the World Atlas of Coffee. More recently, he's become popular online for uploading videos to his YouTube channel talking primarily about coffee. When this dude talks, you should listen because he knows what's going on in the industry. In the radar chart of YouTube personas, Hoffman is a mixture of information and personality. Interesting facts and informed opinions are presented by a well-spoken man with a pleasant voice and calm demeanor. I suspect as many people watch these videos for the character as do for the information, which is why this video, uploaded in April of 2020, came as such a surprise. Titled, The 299-Pound Aldi Espresso Machine, How Bad Could It Be? The viewer already knows James is going to rag on this thing. The negative connotation in the title, combined with James's propensity for top-tier quality, mean that some poor Aldi designer is about to be put through the ringer. James explains that Aldi did an alright job on the portafilter with a rubber tamp stop, having a non-pressurized basket, the water tank has a lid, so that's good, and the steam wand appears to be able to adequately steam milk. On the other hand, he decries the poor craftsmanship. For example, the label is askew, there's a lack of space on the cup tray, and it was provided in a low-quality package. The pre-programmed 2-cup shot pulled too fast and with too much volume. The pincers holding the portafilter beneath the grinder are too stiff as he operates the machine from the back and to the left with his left hand. Side note, I think James is right-handed, as evidenced by the dominant hand use in his Instagram videos. Please note that this criticism is similar to saying that a car is poorly designed because it's really hard to operate from the passenger seat. The insert angle of the portafilter to the water spout brings the handle too close to the grinder, and the provided tamper is made of plastic. The steam wand dial is clacky. When the machine adjusts temperature from a single thermoblock, steam emanates from the tray, and the main criticism is that when you grind too fine, the pressure from the water further compacts the puck, making the grounds more impenetrable to water. At 2:46, James presents the thesis of his video. Is this machine good value for money? His conclusion at 10:13 is no. This machine is terrible and should be avoided at all costs. It is so bad that James is personally offended, and he makes a point of not linking to the product in his description. The learning curve is a graphical representation of the learning process. The x-axis is the amount of effort that a person puts into a skill. It could be measured in attempts, hours, distance, or any other description of energy. The y-axis shows the level of mastery of this skill. The curve itself describes the general relationship between effort and performance. I say general because everyone is unique and learns at a different rate. Your starting point may be higher than 0 before making any attempts because of a natural aptitude or talent. Everyone is different. It doesn't matter. This is the average graph for a large sample size of an average skill. For most people, there's a rapid increase in performance after just a few attempts. This is the beginner stage. You know nothing, but your skill quickly increases as you start trying. In this stage, you are learning the fundamentals, the terminology, the rules, the history of the hobby, really basic stuff. After a certain amount of effort, the rate of increase slows down. You're in the intermediate stage. You're getting better, but not quite as fast as before. In this stage, you study refined techniques and strategy. You understand and can appreciate what the skilled individuals are doing, but have difficulty replicating it yourself. After spending a great deal of time, your rate of performance increase slows drastically. You are now a master with S-tier ability. People come to you for advice and you set the trends. You are in the top % of the top %. This is where James sits regarding all things coffee. His assessment of this machine is correct. It has shortcomings and it won't make the best coffee, but his thesis is flawed. Have you ever tried to teach something to someone who doesn't want to learn? It's brutal. The lack of effort, the pure apathy, it's agony. That's why high school teaching is such a tough job. Why companies literally have to pay both the instructor and employee for the employee to attend training. The spark of curiosity that internally drives an individual to seek out and increase their own knowledge is so incredibly rare that you can't help but want to encourage it. Imagine being a parent and your child comes to you and meekly says, "Hey dad, can you show me how to be such a dominant force in Warzone?" Something that out of pure curiosity they want to learn. I get choked up just imagining that. Which brings us to the thesis of my video. Surprisingly, it's not about this coffee machine. It's about understanding your audience and the influence you wield. There's two types of people who will watch James's video. The entertainment seekers, who are his regular audience, who watch all his content for the enjoyment of it. The second group are the information seekers, the people at the bottom of the learning curve wanting to learn how to make better coffee. These people probably drink a lot of coffee and maybe make it themselves with a basic pour over or French press, but are eager to learn how to make the more particular drinks themselves. They have that spark of curiosity and want to start the climb up the curve. That climb begins with research. So they start looking into the home espresso machines and reading all sorts of reviews, and then through a quick Google search come across this video where a titan of the industry drags an entry-level machine through the mud and discourages any interest in purchasing it or similar varieties. 300 quid is already a fairly steep barrier to entry to a new hobby for many people. And so if an expert says don't get this, what should you get? At 10:06, he suggests buying a Sage brand espresso maker instead. No particular model, but a quick perusal of Sage's website shows that the least expensive espresso maker that is of a similar model to the Aldi costs 600 quid. Double the price isn't comparable, and that price point will discourage beginners from ever investing in an espresso machine. If you have to spend nearly $1,000 to even attempt a new hobby, well, not very many people are going to join, will they? My thesis is that James's video is dangerous because an expert decrying anything but the best prevents entry for all beginners without extraordinary means and motivation. This video is an unintentional barrier to the demographic of people wanting to learn, the most important demographic. At 12:16, James unintentionally hits the nail on the head and agrees with what I'm saying. He says, maybe you could get some good results out of this. Maybe it's a project for somebody. Exactly. It's a project for everyone interested in learning the basics about espresso. That's what entry level means. You do not need top tier equipment or supplies when figuring out the basics. And James already demonstrates the learning process in this video, increasing the grind size, lowering the pressure of the temps. He starts making adjustments in order to produce a better result out of the exact same machine in the exact same manner someone figuring it out for the first time would. The value you get for the price you pay for this machine is dependent upon your placement on the learning curve. James is speaking to his audience as if they are all master level coffee makers. And of course, this machine isn't going to be any good if you've made tens of thousands of cups and have studied the science behind coffee. It would be ludicrous to think so. But if you're at the bottom of the curve, this is a great machine to practice on. It has all the tools provided at a reasonable price. It's not going to last forever, but it teaches someone who has never pulled a shot before what to expect. Anecdotally, I started out with a machine like the Aldi, a Breville Cafe Venezia. It cost 150 Canadian fun bucks. When I got it, I figured it would be good for maybe 600 cups of coffee, a year and a half before it broke. But in that time, it would give me an accurate impression of how to properly make espresso, and it has. I know a ton more about the intricacies of coffee, milk, water, temperature, all sorts of things important in making coffee. This machine is now 5 years old and has pulled over 1,500 shots. It's nearly time for a new one, and now that I know the basics and I have some operational skill, I can appreciate the value I would get from a more expensive machine, which is when the value for money of the cheap stuff drops off and the professional tools increases. So if you want to learn how to make espresso and fancy coffee drinks, go buy the Aldi machine. It'll be right for you for at least a little while. The link is in the description. Yikes. It's not. As of the editing of this video, the product is no longer available. So I don't know. I don't know what they should buy.